Welcome to the 14th episode of Vahargana. In the last episode, I was in Rajasthan in front of Mehrangarh Fort and I compared that to a fort in Tiruchirappalli. That is the fort I was comparing it to. I am in Tiruchirappalli now, and for the first time in this series, I am not in the midst of nature. I am in the midst of a city, a bustling city. It's early in the morning. I'm trying to beat the traffic and the noise. But still, the people of Tamil Nadu wake up quite early, so it's getting quite busy around me now. But the fort you see behind me was built in the 1500s by the Madurai Nayaka kings. They were feudatories of the Vijayanagara Empire, and then they became independent on their own. It's situated on a rock which is about 250 feet high. Mehrangarh was more closer to 850 feet, and you could drive up to the Mehrangarh fort. Here you have to walk through steps which are carved inside the fort to get to the top. And also there are two rock cut temples inside there which were built 1,000 years before the Madurai Nayakas by Mahendra Pallavan. And Mahendra Pallavan is the same monarch who built the Mahabalipuram shore temples. And his capital was in Kanchipuram, not here. But if you go another 500 years before that, you come to the time of Karikala Chodan, and his capital was here. It was not called Tiruchirappalli at that time, it was called Urayur. And Urayur is still there. You can stop any auto rickshaw, ask him to take you to Urayur, and he will. The name has survived even after 2000 years. It's a very historic region here, and that's why I'm here. And also the striking resemblance of this temple to the this fort to the one in Mehrangarh Fort in Jodhpur. They literally grow out of the rock. They are built inherently taking advantage of the shape of the rock. But you know that we are not here to talk about nature or about rocks or about forts. We are here to talk about the astronomy behind the Hindu calendar, which is on a much grander scale. In this specific episode, I'm going to dig deeper into the exact astronomical criteria required to introduce a Adhika Masa into a Chandra Varsha. Now the criteria is very simple. You look for two Amavasyas with no intervening Sankranti. If that happens, you say, of course, between two Amavasyas is a Masa, a Chandra Masa. So you see a Chandra Masa with no Sankranti, you declare that an Adhika Masa. Simple. But why? What is the purpose? Why do this? So as you will see in the animation also, in the upcoming Chandra Varsha, a new Chandra Varsha begins on March 21st, Chaitra Masa, which is Chandramana Yugadi. You will find a majority of Chaitra Masa overlaps with Meena Masa on the Sauramana calendar, not Mesha. Whereas it should overlap with Mesha, it doesn't. So that means they are so out of sync at this point in time. And as you move forward, you come to Shravana, you will find the entire Shravana Masa overlaps with Karkata Masa, not Simha, which is actually embedded inside Karkata Masa, which is completely wrong. It's totally out of sync, not even a single day of overlap with Simha Masa. So we say this Shravana Masa cannot be real. This is Adhika. This is an extra Shravana Masa, and we declared it as an Adhika Masa. And the next Masa we say this is the Nija Shravana Masa, the real Shravana Masa. And that will overlap completely with Simha Masa, meaning the moment you introduce an Adhika Masa, synchronization is totally re-achieved. So maybe it's not clear the way I explain it in words, and that is precisely why I have been doing animations all along in Vahargana. So I will show you in the Stellarium animation what exactly happens, and then you will understand the logic behind introducing a Adhika Masa. So I'm going to stop my narration here. It's getting very noisy all around me. I'm going to roll the animation. Take a look. Okay, let's get started. In the last couple of episodes, we have seen all the details about how the Chandravarsha and the Sauravarsha fall out of sync. And periodically they get synced by the introduction of Adhika Masa. In this episode, we will look very closely about what exactly is the astronomical criteria required to declare a Chandramasa as an Adhika Masa. So I'm going back to the same animation that I used in episode 12, except that I changed the date. Now I'm starting this animation on March 21st, 2023, Falguna Amavasya. In episode 12, I had done it in 2021. In 2021, Falguna Amavasya and Mesha Sankranti were just separated by 2 days. But at the end of the year, they were separated by 13 days, which means Falguna Amavasya fell back 11 days. The next year, it would have fallen back even further by an additional 11 days, and it has resulted now in Falguna Amavasya of 2023 being on March 21st as opposed to Mesha Sankranti, which you know is always on April 14th. And this big plus symbol represents Mesha Sankranti, and the other plus symbols are the various Sankranti points. Now, I've also indicated here in this animation, not only that this is Falguna Masa right now, this is ending of Falguna Masa, Falguna Amavasya, but also that given the position of the sun, this is Meena Masa. Because the sun is here between this plus symbol and this is big plus symbol is Meshadi. So sun is just before Meshadi in the last segment. So this is Meena Masa. Now I'm going to roll the animation and you see what happens. Now Chaitra Masa has started, but it is still Meena Masa on the Sauramana calendar. It is still Meena Masa. And now finally it became Mesha Masa on the Sauramana calendar. So 23.88 days after Chaitra Masa started, now we are reaching the beginning of Mesha Masa. That means for 23.88 days, Chaitra Masa was overlapping with the Meena Masa. Now this clearly indicates that the two are very badly out of sync. Remember, Chaitra Masa is the first Masa of a Chandravarsha. And Meena is the last Masa of a Sauravarsha, and these two are overlapping for 23.88 days. Chaitra should be overlapping Mesha, right? But it is overlapping Meena for almost 24 days. So that's how badly these two have fallen out of sync. Now this notation you are already familiar. This plus 23.88 days it means that this Sankranti, Mesha Sankranti happened 23.88 days after Falguna Amavasya. That's what I have shown you in episode 12. Now the same thing I am reinterpreting by means of this overlap of the masas. And you will see a little bit later as to why I am now talking about this overlap of the masas. So let's continue. Now Chaitra Masa has come to an end with this Chaitra Amavasya. That means Vaishakha Masa is going to start. And the same problem continues. So Vaishakha Masa is overlapping with Mesha Masa. It is still overlapping with Mesha Masa. It is still overlapping with Mesha Masa. And finally, Vrishabha Sankranti has happened. That means for 25.14 days, Vaishakha Masa was overlapping with Mesha Masa instead of Vrishabha Masa. It should overlap with Vrishabha because Vaishakha and Vrishabha are the second months of Chandra Varsha and Saura Varsha respectively. But the overlap, Vaishakha is overlapping with Mesha, the previous Saura Masa. So this overlapping with the wrong Masa is increasing from 23.88 days, 25.14 days, and the problem will continue. But now let me go back to what I used to do before. Now Vaishakha Masa is ending here with Vaishakha Amavasya. Jyeshta has started and I am waiting for the next Sankranti, waiting for the next Sankranti, waiting for the next Sankranti. And here it is Mithuna Sankranti, 26.83 days after Vaishakha Amavasya, we finally got Mithuna Sankranti. So finally Jyeshta Masa is overlapping with Mithuna Masa. Until now it was overlapping with Vrishabha Masa, which is wrong, which is out of sync. Once more, here is Jyeshta Masa ending, and the next Ashadha Masa has started. I am waiting for the next Sankranti. The sun is moving towards the Karkata Sankranti, and there it is, Karkata Sankranti, 28.85 days after Jyeshta Amavasya is Karkata Sankranti. You have to wait such a long time for the next Sankranti to happen. Here is where things become interesting. I'm going to continue the animation now, see what happens. So now Ashadha Amavasya has happened, so Ashadha Masa is over, and that means Shravana Masa is going to start. So let me start Shravana Masa, but I am calling it Adhika Shravana Masa. Why? Watch the sun. I am waiting for the next Sankranti, waiting for the next Sankranti, waiting for the next Sankranti. But what has happened here? Instead of the next Sankranti, we got the next Amavasya. So look at it. So here is Falguna Amavasya, Mesha Sankranti. Chaitra Amavasya, Vrishabha Sankranti. Vaishakha Amavasya, Mithuna Sankranti. Jyeshta Amavasya, Karkata Sankranti. But now, Ashadha Amavasya, where is the next Sankranti? Next Amavasya has come. Which means the next Sankranti is so far away that instead of the next Sankranti, an Amavasya has happened. Two Amavasyas have happened with no Sankranti in between. The pattern of Amavasya Sankranti, Amavasya Sankranti, Amavasya Sankranti has been broken, and you have Amavasya, Amavasya with no Sankranti in between. Now think about it. What does this really mean? So if this is Ashadha Amavasya, Shravana Masa is starting. So if this was Shravana Masa, this is entirely embedded inside Karkata Masa. But Shravana Masa should overlap with Simha Masa, which should be, sun should be here. Instead, this Shravana Masa is overlapping with the previous Saura Masa, Karkata Masa. Not even a single day is it overlapping with Simha. It's completely overlapping with the wrong Masa, Karkata Masa, because the sun is here in this segment, that is after Karkata Sankranti, so it is Karkata Masa. Completely wrong overlap. Totally wrong overlap here. It's so badly out of sync that we say, hey, this cannot be the real Shravana Masa. And that is why we call this Adhika Shravana Masa. We refuse to recognize this as the real Shravana Masa. We say, hey, you are an interloper, you are an extra month. You are Adhika Masa, you are not the Nija Masa. You are overlapping with the wrong Saura Masa. And that's why this is called Adhika Shravana Masa, and this Amavasya which is ending this Masa is called Adhika Shravana Amavasya. Or Shravana Adhika Amavasya is the more often used terminology. Now see what happens when I move the animation forward. Simha Sankranti happened. So we got back into the pattern Amavasya Sankranti, and look at the difference, 0.87 days. Not even 1 day. So the difference, which was 23.8 days, 25.14 days, 26.83 days, 28.85 days, all of them vanished and it became 0.87 days. Fantastic synchronization has been re-achieved simply by declaring that this Masa is an extra Masa. This Chandra Masa is a Adhika Masa. In this case, Adhika Shravana Masa. From here onwards, the story is straightforward. Now I'm waiting for the next Sankranti, and Shravana is now overlapping with Simhamasa. That's how it should be. Back to synchronization, fully synchronized. Shravana is ending, and immediately Kanya Sankranti. That's how it should be. Bhadrapada Masa is overlapping with Kanya Masa. And now I'm waiting for the next Sankranti. That should be Tula Sankranti when the sun comes here. Before that, you have Bhadrapada Amavasya and Tula Sankranti, 3.08 days. So 0.87 days, 2.34 days, 3.08 days. You are familiar with this pattern. We have seen this in episode 12. No different from that. So synchronization was re-achieved here. They were so badly off, 28.85 days of poor synchronization, all got swallowed up by introducing one Adhika Masa. Now Ashwina Amavasya, and immediately after that, Vrishchika Sankranti, 3.37 days. Now Ashwina Kartika Masa is in progress, overlapping with Vrishchika Masa. That's how it should be. Kartika Masa gets over, and soon after that, Dhanu Sankranti. Perfect. Margashirsha Masa overlapping with Dhanu Masa. That's how it should be. Back to synchronization. Continuing further, Margashirsha Amavasya, and soon after that, Makara Sankranti. Just 3.31 days gap now. Continuing further, waiting for Pausha Masa to get over. There is Pausha Amavasya, and soon after that, Kumbha Sankranti, 3.51 days. Let's finish off this cycle, then I have a few more observations to make. Waiting for Magha Masa to complete. Magha Amavasya, and soon after that, Meena Sankranti, 3.85 days only. And finally, I'm waiting for Falguna Masa to complete. There, Falguna Amavasya. Falguna Masa is completed. Now, observe something here. When we started this animation, the previous Falguna Amavasya was here, March 21st, 2023, so far away from Meshadi. This is Meshadi. But now, because we declared this Masa as Adhika Masa, Falguna Amavasya has now moved forward, leaped forward to April 8th, 2024. It came so close to Meshadi. Once again, think about it. If we had not declared this Masa to be an Adhika Masa, if we had said this is Shravana, no Adhika Masa, then this would have been Falguna Amavasya. Am I right? Think about it. Falguna Amavasya would have fallen back here. But because we called this Adhika Shravana Masa, and then this is the Nija Shravana Masa, this became Magha. And Falguna Amavasya got pushed forward by one full month. That is the effect of introducing this 13th month, Adhika Masa. 13th month does not mean it happens at the end. 13th month can happen anywhere where you have two Amavasyas with no intervening Sankranti. In this case, it happened to be Shravana Masa was the 13th month, which got introduced there. And because it was introduced there, Falguna Amavasya, which normally would have been here, got pushed forward, leaped forward, very close to Meshadi. And let's complete the cycle, one step forward, and finally, Mesha Sankranti. Within 4.88 days after this Falguna Amavasya, it's Mesha Sankranti next year. And Chaitra and Mesha are going to overlap next year beautifully, completely in sync. But the real synchronization is achieved here as soon as we introduce an Adhika Masa. The big asynchronization of 28.585 days got eaten up and it became 0.87 days. Back to sync here. And from here onward, it starts falling back again a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. By the time it came here, they are separated by 4.88 days. So this is the story of Adhika Masa. Now, in this example, I am showing you that Shravana was a Adhika Shravana. But it need not always be like that. For example, in 2026, you will have Jyeshta as a Adhika Masa. And in 2029, Chaitra itself becomes an Adhika Masa. Yes, that's also possible. And when that happens, after that, when the real Nija Chaitra starts, perfect synchronization. April 14th will be both the Chandramana Yugadi and Sauramana Yugadi. At least the time which triggers the festival celebrations is April 14th. So it need not always be only Shravana is Adhika. It can be any month where there is a Masa with no Sankranti is declared an Adhika Masa. And of course, as you see here, Adhika Masa comes first and then the Nija Masa happens. Because we see the Adhika Masa happens and there is no Sankranti, then we say, hey, you are not the real Masa, I am going to call you Adhika. And the one which follows will be the Nija Masa. A few more observations I have to make. You would have noticed that this entire thing I am working with Amavasya as ending the Masa. So I am following the Amanta system, not the Purnimanta system. This is nothing new to you. I have always done this throughout the Ahargana series. But even if you follow the Purnimanta system, the definition of Adhika Masa remains the same. 2 Amavasyas with no Sankranti in between. It does not become 2 Purnimas with no Sankranti in between. No. Adhika Masa is always 2 Amavasyas with no Sankranti in between, even if you follow the Purnimanta system. That has some implications. I will probably show that in a tutorial later. But the point is here, it's very neat. You have the Adhika Masa first, and then you have the Nija Masa, right? Whereas if you follow the Purnimanta system, somewhere here Paurnami would have happened, Purnima would have happened, and Shravana Masa, Krishna Paksha would have started. Nija Shravana Masa, Krishna Paksha. And then the Adhika Masa would have been pushed in there. And then the Nija Shravana Masa, Shukla Paksha would have happened here, meaning Shravana Masa will start, then when Adhika Masa gets pushed inside the Shravana Masa, and then the rest of so the Nija Shravana Masa is straddling the Adhika Masa. This is hard to explain in words, so I will do a tutorial and show you using a Drik Panchang calendar what I mean by this. But the point is, the definition of Adhika Masa is always 2 Amavasyas with no Sankranti in between. So that brings me to the end of the explanations of Adhika Masa. So this mini series within a series completes here, 3 episodes explaining just the Adhika Masa concept, with the final one showing the exact astronomical criteria for introducing the 13th month. So I'm going to stop this animation now, and as always, thank you for your patience in staying with me through these animations, and thank you very much for watching. So that brings us to the end of the story of Adhika Masa. A series within a series, 3 episodes. All 3 episodes completed. Now you know exactly when an Adhika Masa is introduced, why it is introduced, what happens when it introduced, all the details you know now. If you have understood this, then you have the kind of understanding of the Hindu Panchanga which probably not even 1% of Hindus have, which probably only the Purohits have at this point in time, not the common man. So as always, my request is please forward this link to as many as your contacts as you can. Please encourage them to watch this series. Of course, if they start watching Adhika Masa straight off the bat, they may not understand anything. You have to go through the easy parts first and then come to the difficult parts. But if you like this video, please share it with others and spread the word of mouth that this is something worth watching and worth learning and worth understanding for every Hindu. So now that we have completed Adhika Masa, what is left, we move to the remainder of Sauramana. The next step is, so we started with the year, we know about a year, and then 12 divisions of the year, which are the Rashi. And then once we had the Rashi and the year, we went on to synchronizing the Saura Varsha with the Chandra Varsha. Now we will go to other divisions of the year. So there are two divisions of the year, half year, called Uttarayana and Dakshinayana. That will be the topic of the next episode. There are another two divisions of the year called Devayana and Pitrayana. That will be the episode after that, and then I will get on to the seasons, Ritus. So until I get on to Uttarayana and Dakshinayana, until I see you again in the next episode, my sincere thanks to you for having watched this episode, for having stayed with the Ahargana series for such a long time. It's almost getting close to a year since I started this series. I started in Sauramana Yugadi of last year, and we are approaching Sauramana Yugadi of this year. So thank you very much for staying with this series. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you again next, take care. There is a lot of noise around here because this is a tourist spot. So until I see you again in the next episode, thank you very much for watching. Take care and bye-bye.